You might think that you're investing, you have some money, you have some land, some real estate somewhere, but you are only one sickness away from poverty. Hey, what's up guys? How are you doing? I hope you've been well. It's been a while. Anyways, up for new videos right now coming your way. Today we're going to be looking at something interesting. What are some of those mistakes that you don't want to be making in your 30s? Why am I talking about 30s? Because in your 20s you're allowed to take some crazy risks, do certain things that you wouldn't probably do in your 30s and 40s, but in your 30s you want to be sure that you're making some strides towards a secure financial direction. So what are some of the mistakes you don't want to do in your 30s? So if you are in your 30s right now and you have some of this happening, or you're making some of these mistakes, you need to stop, find a way out, or you're going to dig a very deep hole that you can't get out of. So basically, I'm going to look at some of the mistakes you don't want to make in your 30s. And because I coach so many people all the time, I talk to so many people, I do pick these things from people, and I realize, okay, they're not taking some of these things seriously, and it might hurt you later, financially speaking. So what are some of those things that you don't want to do, the mistakes you don't want to make in your 30s? But if you do the opposite by doing the right thing, they could actually set you for financial success. And by the way, it doesn't mean 30 is old, it just means that it's a defining time in most cases, not like universally so, but you want to be fully structured, you want to have a very solid financial backing in your 30s, so that as you grow it, I'm not saying rich, I'm saying good financial foundation, good financial habits, a good character, good behavior around money, good understanding of your finances as well, so that going forward, you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing and what you're supposed to achieve. So number one thing that you want to ensure you don't do is not having an emergency fund. Now, we talk about emergency fund all the time, and some people think it's a cliche thing or whatever it is, but the importance of that security is that it ensures or insures your investments. So if you are investing in a money market fund, for example, and you get, let's say a flat tire, or you get, you have to service your car, or there's just something unplanned for, things happen all the time, right? And you have nothing. The next stop for you will be you're going to sell your investments. And each time you sell your investments, you're interfering with that growth, that capital gain. So the thing is, you want to have that emergency fund to cover the base. It's like having financial security. It's having that emergency fund is what moves you from being financially insecure to financially secure. Because in that sense, you are able to take care of yourself despite anything else that is unexpected happening. You could lose your job, for example. You could lose your income. Your business could be down. So many things can happen to you. You want to ensure that you're secure. You want to ensure that you can take care of yourself. You don't want to be in a position whereby you lose your job today and tomorrow you're out of your house. You can't pay your rent. You don't want to be in a situation whereby you're providing for your family today and you're not in a position to provide for them tomorrow. You don't want to be in a situation whereby you can live a good life today, income is there, but when that income stops today, then you cannot sustain that level of life. Emergency fund ensures that you can sustain that life even as you look for other sources. So it's one of the best things you want to have, and especially in Africa, it's very easy because you can still have your emergency fund in a well invested account like money market funds, which are very liquid as well. So you're earning some money on it, and usually emergency fund is not for investment essentially, but in a country whereby you can easily access money market funds with like 11%, for instance. Right now Saturn gives up to 11%, and there are many more coming up. So you want to be in a position to take care of your life despite other things that could happen around it. So make sure you have an emergency fund. And in your 30s, definitely you want to have an emergency fund, and you want to be sure that you can pay the basic stuff in your life. The second thing is people not taking insurance seriously, being underinsured. You want to be properly insured. Now, this is something even me, I didn't really think much of. And I think in our environment where we grow up, like Africa, insurance isn't such a big thing because we rarely think of tomorrow. And I understand that because that wasn't our way of life. The nature provided for us, so we were sure that we will be fine. Even if you're not there, community could provide for your children. So even if something happened to you, your children will be fine. Now, that fabric is slowly getting disintegrated now, unfortunately so. So what happens when you're underinsured or not insured, let me say not being insured, you leave a lot of people exposed. For instance, I would say I provide for my mom, right? If anything were to happen to me, I don't want to leave her so exposed. It doesn't hurt to have some level of insurance. It doesn't hurt to protect the people around you and to protect yourself as well. It's one of the best things that you can ever do to secure yourself. And nowadays, you can also use life insurances as trusts, as a bank, which is a discussion we can actually have. You can use these ones as a facility to form your own family bank where you can actually borrow money. You can do so many things with the life insurance policy. And besides life insurance policy, you can also have health insurance policy. Again, one of the disasters we have in Kenya, and I'm saying this from experience, and I have been doing this, until very recently, is that the health insurance sector in our country is messed up. It's a disaster. It doesn't secure you in any way. And this is something I've dealt with firsthand. So what you want to do is that you want to make sure you have sufficient insurance for yourself and the people around you, the people that you are responsible for financially. Why do you want to do that? Because this is how you ensure that your investments are not interfered with. You might think that you're investing, you have some money, you have some land, some real estate somewhere, but you are only one sickness away from poverty. And this is the reality of 99% of Kenyans. We are not in a position to cover any health issues, serious health issues that come our way that require some good money. Why? Because we don't have proper insurances. We don't have proper structures that can allow people to be properly insured. We haven't actually taught people that insurance is important. And sometimes it doesn't require so much money to be paid upfront, because we don't want to pay something upfront and you're like, I don't see the benefit. I'm just giving these people money thinking that one day I'll be sick. Yes, you will be sick. Yes, someone around you will be sick and they will need that. And it actually protects anything else, protects your investments, your savings, any other money that you might have. So this is another way of ensuring your investments against any kind of issues arising from health issues. And this is something that people have to take seriously. Like I said, we have life insurances, we have health insurance, we have disability insurance, we have income insurance, whereby if you lose your income, you get paid. We have so many types of insurance. Find a policy. We have education insurances as well. Find a policy that works for you. Find a policy that serves your needs, okay? As an investor, as an individual. The third one is making what we call minimum payments on high interest debts. Now, if you have debts, I always say all the time, avoid debts by all means, especially if you do not have the capacity to handle the debts. Avoid having debts. Now, if you have debts already, what happens? You need to contact someone who can guide you get out of that situation. But that is not the end. You need to develop habits that will not take you back to that situation, because a lot of people do relapse and go back to debt. But you want to ensure that you're not paying the minimum amount for high interest earning debts. Because what happens? You are only servicing the interest. You're only paying the bank or the facility, the creditor, the interest of that money. You are never touching the principal. So all the time when I'm working with people, I make sure that we are attacking the principal, but we're also attacking the interests. And this is something you want to always be very aware of, that if you are paying minimum towards your debt, which is earning very high interest, some debts don't even have interest, so it's fine. But if you have a high interest earning debt, you want to make sure you can pay the maximum amount you can afford. Not only they would want, you can afford. And you can also have negotiations with them and tell them, I want to pay the interest, but I want to pay the principal as well, so that you can reduce the amount of principal that is leading to the growth of the interest. So you want to make sure that you're paying towards your debts. There are different methods you can use to pay your debts. Snowball, avalanche method, doesn't matter. What matters is attack your debts and put a maximum energy and attention towards your debts if you want to get out of debt and change your financial habits. I caution that. So welcome to Ken's Money Matters. You can always find my services around around debt, getting out of debt, and servicing your debts basically. The other mistake that people do make in their 30s that you shouldn't make is having or buying too much house. That is in quotes. Too big. People say too much, right? But too big in a sense, right? So don't buy a house. People say too much because you don't want to put so much money towards it. Don't feel the need to always rush to buying a house. And people always feel like they need to rush to buy a house. Young people feel like this is the best investment they could ever make, but that's not true. If you follow lots of people, even in real estate, they will tell you that actually buying your own house isn't one of the best ideas. Especially if you're not planning to live in it, or if you're not planning to settle somewhere still, if you don't even know your future still, or committing so much money towards a mortgage. It means you're locking in your money and you have nothing else to invest. So you will be what we call house poor. So you have a house, you're paying, a lot of bills and lots of, maintenance fees towards the house and lots of, high mortgage rates, but you have nothing else to invest. You are not growing. So you have a house that has just tied you for 30, 40 years and you can't grow as a person. So don't commit too much money. Your income is your tool for building wealth. Don't put it towards just one house where you are living. You want to try and have cash flow. You want to try and generate cash flow while you're still young. In your 30s, you need to start thinking of how can I generate more cash flow that is going to be passive, money that can come to me while I'm asleep. Your house won't give you that money. So this idea and this mentality and this thing that we've been taught, that we need to, the first thing is buying land, and then you need to build a house or buy a house or whatever. It's just taking your money and tying your money down for no reason. I know so many people have gone, they've built massive houses outside Nairobi, and then after a while they couldn't even live there because they have to work back in the center, and it's just crazy getting to work. So nobody can rent your house. You have so much loan on it, you're paying that loan, and nothing is happening in the house. So you don't want to be house poor. You don't want to be in a position where you are living has taken up all your income and you have no surplus to actually invest and grow as a person. You have no surplus to actually indulge in other activities that could be cash generating for you. Please ensure that you keep that in mind. Anytime you're going to buy a house, is it manageable for you? Is it the right time? Is it what you should be doing at the moment? Or you could actually just pay rent in a manageable place and focus on generating more income, passive income, business, bonds, stocks, whatever it is you're investing in. That's not the discussion of today, but this is what you need to start considering. You need to think about that, right? And then there's a big one. A lot of people talk to even in their 30s, they think they're still too young. So the other mistake you don't want to make is not saving for retirement. A lot of people don't think of retirement. In their 30s, their 20s, they're like, that's too far, Ken. I don't want to think about it. You have to start thinking about retirement today. If you don't think about retirement today, you're going to be really messed up in the future. This is the time you set that foundation. This is the time you start that process. Right now, look at the currencies. Look at every single thing getting expensive. You start saving early. By the time you get to retire, things will be so expensive and you need to have surplus. You need to have money. You don't want to be financially okay right now when you can actually, get out there and work, do stuff, generate money, but then be financially poor when you have no strength, no energy, and you are irrelevant in the market. Nobody can hire you because you're outdated. That's the fact. That's the truth. The world is moving too fast. You want to start the process of thinking about your retirement today. The earlier you begin, the better. The earlier you begin, the less load you have to carry towards that goal. Make sure you start thinking about retirement. You're not too young to think about retirement. You're not too young to think about how you'll be financially secure. We have so many people who have been working for 30, 40 years. Right now, they're in retirement with no cash flow, no money. And it is really distressing. It's distressing to see, it's distressing to watch, it's distressing to listen to. Sometimes people invest in the wrong things without consulting. Sometimes they just spend money on the wrong stuff. Sometimes they just avoid investing because they don't want to think about the future. I know life is funny. I know things can happen, but you want to have that option. If you get there, we never know, but if you get there, you don't want to be poor. You want to be financially secure. And successful people don't think about, I won't be there to enjoy the money. That's bullshit. Enjoy that money right now, but make sure that you have enough to also invest. You can have both worlds. You can make sure that you are investing consistently for retirement, and you can also make sure that you are saving, for your own daily stuff, your own daily needs. And that's something that you want to constantly think of when you're working and investing. Are you investing for retirement? Are you investing for just few years from now? Are you investing to achieve a particular goal? So retirement should be a very specific goal. Plus, I always tell people, think of how you want your retirement to be. How much money do you want to have coming in? What kind of life do you want to live? And remember the inflation rates. You want to look at the inflation rates and where is it going to be in the next 20 years or so? How expensive will a piece of bread be? So you want to think of it in that sense. You want to think like, will I have enough to actually make sure that I live the kind of life I'm living now or the kind of life I want? Then the last one. This is interesting one. Saving for your kids before you save money for yourself. Do not lie to yourself that you love your kids so much and therefore you want to always save for kids. Some people even saving for kids that they don't even have yet. Yeah, it's okay. Invest and think of your kids in the future, but think of yourself. They depend on your financial security. They will win off your financial security. They will win off your business. They will win off your investment. They will win off your retirement plans. They will win off your whatever it is you've invested in. So invest in yourself, invest in your growth, save money for yourself. And when I say save, I don't mean to save money in the bank. I mean invest money, grow money, do that business you want to do for yourself. Don't start taking away your income that can help you generate, wealth or build yourself. Put it into a savings account for a child that is still 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It doesn't matter. You're wasting time. If you've done enough for yourself, that's fine. Because I know in the West, for example, we have certain tax advantages or incentives if you're investing towards someone younger. So some people use that as a way to make more money and have more tax-free money and stuff like that. But if you're just in Africa, whereby we have these facilities, but most people don't really pay attention to that. you want to be able to invest for yourself first, be financially secure first, assure your future first before you can then think about investing for the children. And like I said, they will depend on what you're building. So focus on building yourself. So these mistakes, you want to avoid them in your 30s. You want to make sure that you're doing the opposite. You're doing what I was saying. You want to make sure you have an emergency fund, right? You want to make sure that you are saving for yourself and not for your children. You want to make sure you are properly insured in a way that would secure people around you. You want to make sure that you're making high payment towards high interest earning debts, or just avoid debts altogether. And if you're using them to make money, be smart about it. Make sure you consulted, you know what you're doing. And you want to make sure that you're not buying an extra house. Okay? Too big, too much. Don't do that. These are things that can help you not interfere with your finances, and they can help you grow much faster. Otherwise, guys, until next time, I'm out.